Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is realBluTV, and of course, we are getting near the end of September. Actually, today is the last day of September, but this weekend is the last tournament, the main event for the CMG $10,000 event for the month of September, that is. Why is it running a little bit late? Well, that's because they took a week off, had to fix a couple things in the game. Plus, it gave some players some extra preparation with some changes coming in the game as well. If you're unfamiliar with the channel, make sure you subscribe now, because down below you can also find all of the matches from qualifiers as well as some other main event brackets in the past. You can watch your favorite teams or find out who your favorite players and teams will be in the future after watching some of those matches. As you can see, we do have a little bit of a different setup as well. I've, kind of been remodeling my office a little bit, how I'm going to go about doing things for content as well. And we're standing up now, as you can see, standing up. Got my notes in my hand. We've got a handheld mic. Mainly the handheld mic is because the desk mic doesn't reach over here. And also, I bought a new headset, broadcasting headset. Hasn't come in the mail just yet, but it'll be here very shortly, sometime this month, hopefully. So won't have to deal with this handheld mic for too long. We can have a little headset, have both hands free. But yeah, we've got the green screen behind us. So if you see me looking in this direction, I'm actually I'm kind of playing like a weatherman here. It's kind of weird. I was trying to practice earlier, and I never realized how hard it is to actually point at a green screen while the image is on the monitor over there. So it's actually a lot harder than I thought it would be, but we're gonna try and get through it here. Also, if you see me go this way, you're gonna see me get cut off a little bit, so as well as this side as well. So if you see me go either of these ways and I get cut off, don't worry about it. But yeah, let's get straight to it. So obviously over the last couple days, even weeks, there's been a lot of drama on the timeline, and this is something that has happened for the past couple months in the Roco company competitive scene, and I've mostly avoided it, partly because my Twitter is still suspended for DMCA, but also because I just don't want to be involved in that. So I'm going to go back to doing what I used to do with Paladins, right? Especially the Paladins console scene. When there was a lot of drama, there was a lot of arguments going on Twitter all the time, I tried to divert the attention away from that to something more positive, right? Keep that positivity within our community. So, of course, I'm going to be doing that once again with Roco Company. Let's get onto the content grind, right? So let's do some bracket predictions. Let's break down some teams. Let's dive a little deeper into the analysis for these teams instead of all that bickering, right? You guys can bicker about how stupid I am in these predictions, because things are going to get spicy here, and you're going to figure that out here in just a couple moments. But let's take a look at the top 16 teams. Obviously, the number one thing that is pointed out is, of course, right here. Could actually put those notes down for the time being. Oh, can't put them there. My fans inside my PC are blowing them all over. Okay. The number one thing that sticks out is, of course, if I can get my finger there, Justice Roco being the number 3 seed. This is actually the first time that they will not be either a number 1 or a number 2 seed, right? So this is unheard of. This is something that has never happened. This goes all the way back to the very first major event through CMG with Roco Company, the $8,000 event, right? Both the NA and the EU. In the NA tournament, they were the number 1 seed. In the EU $8,000 event, they were the number 2 seed. They ended up losing that one. They won the first one, right? So they were 1-1. But those rosters were still very different. They weren't called Just Us. They actually weren't even called Cute Hamster. They were called Tier 1. The reason why I'm mentioning those squads and those seeding placements is because Gronky and Frag were on that team, right? So every addition of this squad, no matter how it has transformed because of the other 2 spots changing in and out. You've had Cool and Bop in there. You've had Bop. You've had Ink. You've had Highlight. You've had Delana. You've had all these different forms of what it is today with Gronky and Frag. They have never, in any of those versions, have ever been below the 2nd seed. They've been the 1 seed and they've won a few times. They've been the 2 seed and they've still come out and won a few times. The only time they lost was in the June $10,000 event. They had Delana, but they also had Highlight instead of Ink. Remember, April was the first, or excuse me, May was the first time they brought in Inc., and they ended up winning that tournament. They didn't look too good through the qualifiers, but they still won that main event with Inc. Inc. gets taken out. They replace him with Highlight in the month of June, and Right Turtle were the ones to win. We're actually going to talk about Right Turtle in that month a little bit later as well. All right, so the other thing that we're going to point out is Cordiality being the number 1 seed. They were the ones who actually won the first event. Remember, the qualifiers did change a little bit. If you win a qualifier, you get automatic seeding depending on which qualifier you win, right? So if you win the first one, you are the number 1 seed. If you win the second qualifier, you are the number 3 seed, because that number 2 seed is the loser in the finals of qualifier 1. So the way it works is 3 qualifiers, 6 automatic seeds, right? So that's the way that points out. Cordiality actually are the ones responsible for Just Us being that number 3 seed. Why? Because they beat them in the semifinals of that first qualifier. So Cordiality already looking good coming through in the standings after the first qualifier, right? They secured the number 1 spot, and they also knocked out what is believed to be the greatest Rogue Company team of all time, right? So congrats to them. Oh my goodness, what is happening? There we go. A little bit of a focus problem. Maybe because I'm moving around a little bit too much. Might have to buy a new camera. All right, so, of course, Cordiality, the number 1 seed. They beat Justice this month already. We just talked about that. Overall, they went up against Gaming Gorillas, which, of course, is your number 2 seed because they came in second in that first qualifier. We'll talk about them here in a second, too. But they had an overall great performance against Gaming Gorillas, which is impressive once I tell you what that roster is for Gaming Gorillas. Cordiality, however, will be coming in. Oh, I got my roster sheet right here because we do have some roster mix-ups here or some roster changes for Cordiality to start things off. And noted, there is one team we do not have a roster for. That is actually the number 8 seed, Beefy Buffalo. So that team could honestly just be a wild card to me. I couldn't find their team in the CMG brackets at all, and that's mainly where we're getting these rosters from. But we do know that there's a change to Cordiality. So Cordiality came through with Nash X, Joker, Rixie, and if you watch the stream or the broadcast, the 4th player's name on screen was Gotti, but that was actually 40 or Young 40. Some people may know him as. So he's being replaced with Who's That. I think that is, I wouldn't call it an upgrade, wouldn't call it a downgrade. I think it's kind of even. They do have different play styles, but Who's That has been on the rise these past couple months, and he's been an outstanding player because of that. We'll see how he does with this new lineup that he's working with. Gaming Gorillas, however, is kind of this, I think, like Thanos squad, right? That's what they look at themselves as, but they're also some players that came out of these big breaks that they took. We've got Fank, Cool, Pix, and Exo. But man, did they look good. Even though they came in second in that first qualifier, they looked good throughout that entire bracket. I mean, it's the return of 3 of these members. We could call it the return of Fank as well, but he returned the month before and did very decently and actually impressed me with how caught up he got to the rest of the field with the amount of time he took off from the game. So congrats to Fank once again. But we've got Cool, Pix, and Exo making a big comeback here. How are they going to perform in the main bracket, right? Now, earlier when this team was first announced, or before it was even announced, Fank came into my personal stream when I was playing the game. I don't even think I was playing Rogue Company that stream. He just happened to come in, say, "What's up, Blue? How you doing?" And he said, "Listen, I'm building this squad." And then, he made me guess who it was. I had some good guesses. I ended up figuring out who each of those players were, but he still didn't reveal it. He just said, "You might have it. You might have it." And then he tells me, "I'm not building a team to lose. If I'm playing, I'm building a team to win." So, Fank, a lot rests on your shoulders because you said you're going to win this. So go out there and secure your promise, right? They had an extra week off. Hopefully, just like everyone else with that third qualifier being moved back a week, hopefully they were able to solidify some practice and some chemistry between them. Let's take a look at our next teams that are standing out to us. Right Turtle, of course. Look at this. Same roster. It's the number 5 seed, right? And they won June. I told you we were going to come back to this topic. They won the June $10,000 event as the number 5 seed. So the number 5 seed for Right Turtle does not faze them at all. Here's why. They've been the number 5 seed 3 times. 3 out of their 7 major events, right? That's including the 2 $8,000 events. Well, only one of them. The first one was North America only, so they didn't play in that. But I've got to tell you, we got a little janky system going here, but we got it back, baby. We got it back. A little 10-minute screen timeout's not good enough for the mobile, huh? Okay, so where was I? Yes. Okay, so here's their seedings, right? We go all the way back to the second $8,000 event, which was the EU one in January of this year. They were the number 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 5 seed, the 5 seed, the 5 seed, the 7 seed, the 8 seed, right? So the last time they were the 5 seed was, of course, in June, and they won that event being the 5 seed. So, hey, who knows? They could come out blazing as the number 5 seed once again. But, hey, there's some other teams on the horizon that could make some big plays. Nice Mink, that's a team that has Canny on it once again. The Homie Squad V2 kind of was born from Rome, and it is being continued with some different players, of course, and they're still doing well. And then you've got Empire of the Sun, Go-Go Fluffy Rangers, Takers V2, another team to look out for, and, of course, Big Lens backwards, which I think we can just call Saint Nell Gibb, right? Because they're looking good, man. They're like the Saints, and they are rising to their new Holy Land, or their new Promised Land. So, hey, who knows? Innovator's got some key players that could make some big deals as well. I say key because that is actually one of the names of their players. So let's go ahead and take a look at who our faves and sleepers are. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've got favorites and we've got sleepers. All right, so these are not in particular order. They are actually in order of their seeding if you take a look at these. So first one I want to talk about, Cordiality. They're the number 1 seed. They are the new up-and-coming North American team. The biggest factor that's going to happen for them, of course, will be who's that. How does he play with this squad? But they've had 4 weeks, 3 weeks, not 2 weeks to practice, but 3 weeks. So hopefully he does work out very well in their game plan. Then we've got Gaming Gorillas. Of course, Fank made the promise. If he's playing in a tournament, he's not building a team, and he's not playing to lose, okay? So they are what would be your up-and-coming EU team, even though they have 2 NA players. They're kind of a hybrid, right? They took care of any server issues. They went 50% NA with Cool and Pix, and they went 50% EU with EXO and Fank. So big shout out to them. Thinking, even though the rule change was great. So if you don't know what that is, go over to checkmategaming.com. Make sure you check out that rule for the servers that got to be played. All right, so the next one is Just Us. Of course, this, even though they're the number 3 seed and they've never been a lower than a 2 seed in a main bracket, right? In a main bracket, they are still your number 1 favorite. Right, Turtle, of course, still your number 2 favorite. Why? Well, because these are still the 2 best teams out there. Justice, they took care of business, right? They lose qualifier 1 and they say, wait a minute, hold on. We're not going to be the number 1 or the number 2 seed. Let's go out there and let's get the job done. That's exactly what they did. So big ups to them for being able to rebound so successfully, and they have a dominant qualifier number 2, so they get that back in their position. All right, let's take a look at our sleepers because these are big. These are big, right? So we've got Nice Mink, Canny. Canny's on this team, or Cannon Bulls, right? And Canny, well, he's got to lead this squad ×2. Why do I say that? I say that because he's never had a squad as subpar as this. I know that's kind of mean to say, but still, even if you go all the way back to Aim Assist Kings or the Aim Assist team that he had with Domes and Neg and Highlight, that team, I think, if it was pitted up against this team with Canny on it, would still do a lot better. So this team's going to have to make up for a lot. But he does have some hot young talent on his team, right? He's got Bluffus. He's one of the rising stars for today. And shout out to him, by the way. He's been making some big adjustments in his own gameplay and his play styles, and not just that Phantom player that we've come to love. Now he's starting to branch onto some other rogues, both support and kind of some anchors, and he's playing them well. It's good to see NetJ back too as well. NetJ's an interesting case because sometimes when you watch NetJ play, it's sort of like, okay, he's playing to play. You know, if he's not really playing to win $10,000. But now he wakes up, he drinks his coffee, that's his trademark, and then he starts grinding. And he seems not, I wouldn't say enjoying it, because he'll probably say, I'm not enjoying Road Company just like everyone else. You know, the grind does get a little tiring. But he does enjoy competing and being on the winning side. So if you can keep that attitude up, this team might have some wins in their future here in this tournament. And then their other player, eWizzle. This is the highest seed that eWizzle's ever been, and it's also the highest stage set for him as well. So we'll see how he performs. All right, our next one, Empire of the Sun. This is basically Vibes 999 2.0, right? There's a lot of teams, Takers, Homie Squad, they put V2 in there because they're version 2. We'll talk about Homie Squad, or Takers actually. They should be like Takers version 3 by now, but we'll get to them next. So backpedaling here to Empire of the Sun, this should be Vibes 999 2.0, right? The reason why I say this is because it's still Losi, Turner, and Chapo, the longtime 3 that have been together for a while. Sometimes 1 or 2 of them kind of bounce out, sub for other teams, or they've played for other teams in main brackets, but mainly out of all the tournaments, main bracket events that we've had, these 3 have stuck together, and they've just changed that 4th member. And each month I'm like, wow, this roster's improved. This roster's improved every single month, but they were on the rise as Vibes, and then they kind of just hit a plateau, right? If you guys don't know what that is, you got to go back to social studies, man. But anyways, they hit a plateau. They kind of just flattened off, right? It's like a graph. They're going up, and then they just flatline across. So they need a little bit of a pep in their step. Guess what? They go out, they get Drew Whitlock. And Drew Whitlock, by the way, wow, he's playing with a chip on his shoulder lately. He's looking really good. So he is a big improvement. And for yet another consecutive month, I'm going to say this team has improved roster-wise. We'll see how they do. All right, so going to Takers V2. It's over here. Takers V2, which actually should be Takers V3. This is, I'm going to say this again. I said it just now, but again, about Empire of the Sun. By the way, love Empire of the Sun, so I love the name automatically. But I'm going to say it again about Takers V2, right? The reason why I say it should be V3 is because this is the best version of this roster, right? So they're looking good. They've got swap outs Joker and Hizzy that used to be on this squad back in the day in different forms. Those are good players. Just none of them really melted well with the rest of this lineup. So Elvin is the one who moves into this roster. And man, Elvin not playing on the same level of I got a chip on my shoulder kind of with Drew. But hey, both of them with that big argument and all that drama that's happened on Twitter this week because of what happened in last week's qualifier, wow, that is going to fire both of them up, right? Drew, that chip on his shoulder just got 2 times larger, and he wants to win, especially if he's going to have to go up against Empire of the Sun, right? If these 2 teams meet, oh my goodness, will it be a banger of a match to watch. But for Elvin, I think he inside himself, right? He's getting a little fire going, right? Maybe, you walk into a log cabin, got a little fire going, you sit there and you just enjoy your time. No. That whole cabin's on fire now inside of our man Elvin. He might not show it, but he's fired up. He's raged up. Come on. Put out a video explaining his side of the story. If that doesn't say I'm fired up for this tournament, I don't know what does. All right, so our last and not least sleeper will be, let me get the finger, the Innovators. Why did I put them there? Well, they've got Class and Silhouette. They've done good things before together, right? And they just keep improving. Class is one of those guys, especially when he's playing Chalk. I know I say that about a lot of different players. When they get on the Chalk, something just inside of them goes berserk, goes ape mode, just like when Chalk, rages up. That's what I envision these players doing when they're on the Chalk, just doing it in real life, right? Because that's how they play. Very aggressive, I don't give a damn. Let me get in there. Let me frag out, right? And that's what I think Class is going to end up doing. If he can get on that level in this weekend's tournament, this team could be one of those sleepers, one of those dark horse teams. They are the 16 seed, so their first matchup's going up against Cordiality. That is going to be a very tough matchup for them. But like I said earlier, the key to the Innovators is that they brought in Key Wonder plays. He just goes by Key now. He's someone that's starting to step up as well. He's increased both his play and his play styles, and I think most of that credit goes to the fact that he took a break. It wasn't a big break, wasn't a short break, kind of a medium one, but it was good for him, and it's really increased the way that he has come back and the way he is playing now because of that. So big shout outs to Key, Class, and Silhouettes. Make sure they keep it up. Look out for them this weekend. They might make some moves. All right, so let's move on. We've got our bracket buster. That's right. Okay, we're getting a little fuzzy here again. Let me just stand still. All right, there we go. I got a little excited. That's me, by the way. If I take this shirt off, I look exactly like this. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we've got Big Lens or Saint Nelgib. as I will now call them. I will now refer to them as the Saints, okay? We've got Godly, Hyperactives, Modulus, and Sep. The reason why I put them as my bracket buster is because that's exactly what they did last month. In the August main event, they lost in the first round in the winner's bracket, given they were pretty low seed like they are now, right? But, man, they made a run through that loser's bracket, something I didn't expect from them. They made it like 3 or 4 matches deep, and then that's when they kind of fizzled out. So they're the bracket buster that I'm picking for this month. If anyone's going to bust up someone's brackets, it's going to be this team right here. And I think that they've got some good things going for them. Modulus is sort of like the guy that you bring in. You're like, okay, this guy's a console player, but he can keep up with the PC players, even if they're on controller or mouse and keyboard. He's really good, and he subs in for numerous amounts of teams, and he kind of pushes them forward, right? It's like, oh, no, our car is dead, but we need to get over there. And Modulus was like, hey, some guy walking down the street, will you help us push the car? And he says yes, and he pushes it across that finish line every single time with them, whether they're the first or the last. It doesn't matter. He helps them get to where they want to be. So look out for this team. Plus, Sep has also been stepping up his play. He's someone that I wouldn't say is a rising star, but he is trending upwards, just not as quickly as the other people that we put in that rising stars category. Speaking of rising stars, let's talk about players that you need to watch in this weekend's tournament. This is important, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Who are we going to be watching very closely? That is the question, and here they are. All right, so on the left here, we've got the 4 main key players. Teams need these players to succeed, right? On the other side, we've got players that need to have a little bit more success than they have in last month's main bracket. All right, let's get to it. We've got Ink. Reason why I put Ink here, let me get to the notes here. This is a very important stat. You ready for this? Just Us is 0-1 in championships without him, and they're 2-0 in championships with him. Okay? It's a simple stat, ladies and gentlemen. Very simple, right? They bring him in the month of May. They win the championship. They take him out in the month of June. They lose the championship. They bring him in the month of July. They win. They bring him in again in August, and they win. All right, so technically they're 3-0 with him. But you get the point. This guy, he's disgusting when he's on Just Us. And most of the time through the qualifiers, it's like, wow, Ink is such a good player. Ink is so good. The rest of this team is fantastic. They're the greatest. But then you're like, you know, after watching this main event, Ink didn't look too good through the qualifiers because he just takes it to another level when there's $10,000 on the line. So look for Ink to make some massive plays once again. Man, this camera, I am confusing the crap out of it, moving around so much. All right, so the next one is Pix. Why? Pix is the guy that brought out Phantom in King of the Hill and did it successfully in his comeback moment in qualifier number 1. Although they lost in qualifier number 1's finals to Cordiality, it's okay. He still did great, and he came back and he did exactly what he used to do when he played with his old teammates, and that's just slay out, right? Like, he just frags. Whatever Pix wants to do, let Pix do it. That's the key to gaming gorillas. Let Pix do what Pix wants to do, okay? As we try and get this camera to please. I know I'm confusing you. Just come on. There we go. All right. Make me look good. Or attempt to. All right. So our next player we're going to be looking out for is Joker. Why is Joker a key player? Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you. Joker has been trending upwards on my charts for top players in the last month, maybe even month and a half. What he did in qualifier number 1 of September's event. Beautiful. Chef's kiss to my man Joker. Right? Joker's playing out of his mind. Last month he played out of his mind. Then he stepped it up another notch. Will he be able to do that and continue the upwards trend? That's why Joker is on this list. I mean, not a lot of people are still playing Kestrel, right? Like, there's other rogues to pick, but he says, just give me Kestrel, dude. And he does exactly what he wants to do with it, and that is just kill anything in sight. So look for him to maybe bust out the Kestrel a couple times. Who knows? He could bust something else out and and just slay as hard as he does on that Kestrel. But Joker, Kestrel, they go together. I love watching that combination right there. Next player to watch out for is Canny. Going back to what I said earlier, his team, it's the most subpar team he's been on. I don't know if he's going to continue to play on this team. Maybe he was just a sub. Again, we're just going by what rosters we see on the CMG website. Things could have changed by then, but hey, right now, we're going to just say Canny's got to be the key. He's got to carry this team. And when I say carry, I mean carry, okay? I don't mean no offense to the other 3 players on his team, but they have not been in this situation before. And hello, can we go back to this real quick? Can we just talk about how every time we have one of these main bracket tournaments, everyone's saying, okay, it's Right Turtle or it's Just Us, right? Or Cute Hamsters, whatever you want to call them at the time. Let's think about this. It was always the same 2 teams people complained about. Look at where we are now, because I love it when people say the game's dead or, the scene's dead or it's the same team that wins all the time. Yeah, that team's still winning, but that's mainly because you're complaining, right? So complaining instead of grinding. But now, look at this. Look at these 4 teams. These are all championship caliber teams. I am not joking with you, right? Cordiality, Gaming Gorillas, Justice, Right Turtle, all 4 teams are disgustingly good. And any of these teams can win a championship. In my bracket prediction, when these, I'm going to spoil it for you. When these teams meet each other, oh my goodness, is it hard. It was very hard for me to decide these outcomes. But we'll get to the bracket here in just a few moments. All right, so let's talk about players that need to be more successful than they were in last month's tournament or in the past qualifiers, whatever you want to call it, right? Let's talk about MS first. Why is Emis on this list? Let me step off as this thing tries to recalibrate here. Emis. Man, why is Emis on this list? People will ask probably, or they'll say I'm crazy. It's mainly because Emis just has not been playing at the same level that he has in the past, right? Last month, Right Turtle's biggest mistakes gameplay-wise during their matches were because of Emis. And Emis cannot afford to make these mistakes because he's usually the one who has to play the Lancer or the Glitch or that offbeat rogue that maybe the other team doesn't expect or maybe they weren't prepared for, or you just want to use it because you need it on that map. And it's kind of like that offbeat or that wild card rogue. You need them in the fight. You need their utility. You need their abilities. And we just don't see the same type of gameplay out of Emis because of that. And that is the main reason why they weren't able to come away with the victory in last month's main event. So we'll see how Emis does this weekend. I love Emis. I've got some high hopes for him, but he's got to pick up his play from last month's event. Losi's on this list mainly because Losi was one of those players, kind of like where I have Joker right now on that upwards trend. But again, just like his team vibes, plateaued, right? They're now called Empire of the Sun. Look out for Losi because if he can step up his gameplay once again and get back to that upwards trend, that team could go a little bit further than they have in the past, especially with their new 4th, Drew Whitlock. Sinmade. Sinmade's on this list because Sinmade was on the console team from Next Gen, and they were making waves. They took a map off of Cute Hamsters at the time when no one was able to do that below the Right Turtle line of teams, right? And Sinmade was the one playing the Glitch before Glitch got that update and he started to become more popular. He was the one playing some other rogues that were kind of offbeat, just like the Emis role was as well. So that team was making waves. The problem was that team fell apart. They had a couple subs. Everything fell apart. The team started losing. And now Sinmade's been on some different rosters here and there since that time, way back in May. That was in May, right? And he's been on a couple rosters since then, and things just have not looked the same. I wouldn't say he was on that upwards trend like Losi or like Joker, but he was heading towards the right direction. It's kind of like he got to a fork in the road. He was supposed to turn left. He ended up turning right. Or maybe he just sat down on a bench and said, I can't decide which way I want to go. Whichever it is, he's got to get up, and he's got to either make his way back and go left, or he's got to stand up from that bench and decide whether or not he's going to become one of those rising stars, right? He was one of those hot young talents, and now he's just a talent sitting idle. We've got to see him rev up. We've got to see him get going. He's got to get going this weekend very early on as well. All right, and last but not least, Key Wonder plays. Why? I put his whole name there just in case people wouldn't know who Key is. Why is he on this list? Well, Key's on this list because, well, Key, like I said, didn't take a long break, didn't take a short break, just kind of took a break, kind of medium length, I guess you would call it, compared to what other breaks we've seen from other players in the past so far. But he's got to find a way to continue that trend of changing his play style up from game to game, and giving himself the advantage of, okay, my team's up, let me kind of carry this team. But it's a little different, right? Because he's got silhouette and he's got class. This team, they do need to find a lot of success. They're going up against Cordiality in the first round. We're going to be talking about our first round matchups next. But Key is one of those players where it says, okay, I've got to carry, but I don't necessarily need to hard carry. I just need to do my job and do it very well. That way, the rest of my teammates like Sil and Class can feed off of me. And I think that's where Innovators will find their success. If they can feed off of each other very well because each of them are playing well, that's when they're going to start to make some moves. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our first round matchups here. All right, we've got Cordiality versus the Innovators. We've got Beefy Buffalo versus Empire of the Sun. Right Turtles, Takers V2, Corrupted Minds, Fantastic Bird. And on the other side of the bracket, oh yes, I can point at these now. We've got Gaming Gorillas, Saint Nell Gib, the Homie Squad V2, Go-Go Fluffy Rangers, Nice Mink, Beefy Pandas, Justice Roco, and Stiff Shark. Man, I feel like I'm on like the Price is Right or Wheel of Fortune here. But these are some really good matchups. All right, so let's talk about our key round one matchups that I'll be watching very closely. All right, so obviously we're going to think Cordiality wins. We're going to think Just Us wins, and we're going to think Gaming Gorilla wins, right? The reason why we don't say Right Turtle automatically wins is because we think they're going to win, right? I'm going to show you my bracket predictions right after this, but here's our key matchups, okay? Beefy Buffalo, Empire of the Sun. Why is this a key matchup? Well, we don't know this team at all. We don't know their roster. We don't know anything. So Empire of the Sun could get surprise upset, which is weird because they're the lower seed, right? So we would think that Empire of the Sun winning would be the upset. But really, Empire of the Sun is the favorite in this matchup. So we're expecting Empire of the Sun to win. It's a key matchup because we don't know who Beefy Buffalo is. They could surprise everyone. Another key matchup on this side, Right Turtle versus Takers 2. Why do I say this is a key matchup? Because I think Right Turtle's going to win. I just don't think it's going to be a 3-0. Remember, these are all best of fives. I think this is going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. I think Takers V2 are going to give Right Turtle a run for their money, not take it to 5 games. It might be a 3-1. Could be a 3-2, though. So I've got high hopes for Takers V2. This is the best version of this roster they've ever had. Remember, I've said that. All right, so over here are our key matchups. We've got the Homie Squad V2 versus Go-Go Fluffy Rangers. This is probably the match that needs to be on broadcast first, right? The reason why I say that is because this matchup right here. The other key matchup is Nice Mink, Beefy Pandas. Both of those teams kind of evenly matched. Canny is by far the best player out of all 8 that will be lined up in this match here, but Nice Mink, I think, edges it out just a little bit. But I think Beefy Pandas can force a Game 4, maybe even a Game 5. But here, this could be a 5-game set, right? And I'm expecting it to be. This could go either way. Homie Squad V2 or Go-Go Fluffy Rangers. Either of those squads could come out on top, and I think this is going to be a grinder. Whoever wins this is going to be very tired and very exhausted to have to go up against Gaming Gorillas next. But this matchup right here, this is the match of the week, like in NFL, they do America's Game of the Week. That's it right there. That's America's Game of the Week. That's EU's Game of the Week, even though nobody on either of these squads are from EU. Doesn't matter. That is the world's Game of the Week for this month right here. I cannot wait to watch this. I love that it's a 7-10 seed matchup as well because it just makes you foam at the mouth, man. So appetizing. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at my bracket. That's mainly why everyone's here, right? They just want to see who I think is going to win, and then you guys are just going to say, you're wrong, whatever. All right, so let's talk about it. Cordiality Innovators. Cordiality, I think, is going to win that one. I do have hopes for Innovators to do some successful things. I just don't think they're going to beat Cordiality, obviously. We've got Right Turtle beating Takers, but like I said, that could be a matchup that goes 4 or 5 games. It could also be a 3-0, but very close 3-0s, right? Like it could be 8-7 in the demolition, whatever it may be. Then we've got Corrupted Minds beating Fantastic Bird. I think this is also a toss-up game. I think Fantastic Birds can beat Corrupted Minds. I obviously just picked Corrupted Minds because Karma and Ham have kind of carried this team. Tykin's on the backside playing the Dallas. He still uses the Devotion when he wants to, but most of the time he pulls out that AR. We'll see what weapons he's going to be pulling out if he plays the Dallas once again. He knows when to utilize those snaps at the best of his ability as well with the rest of his teammates. And those three just kind of work really well together. So we'll like to see Tykin's on Dallas, and we'll like to see Karma and Ham do whatever they want to do and come out victorious. So I've got them beating Fantastic Bird, but again, that could be another close matchup here. Of course, we've got Justice Roco winning. We've got Nice Mink winning their matchup. Again, Beefy Pandas, I think, will give them a run for their money. I just don't think that they'll beat them. Homie Squad V2 will be my pick for that game of the week or game of the day for the main bracket there. I've got Homie Squad V2 winning that out by just a little bit. I think that's going to go 5 games. I think it's going to be like an 8-7 in that game, number 5, possibly an 8-6. But hey, that is going to be a good match. And then we've got Gaming Gorillas, of course, beating the number 15 seed, Big Lens. I know. I said this could be my bracket buster, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. Remember, there is a loser's bracket, and I even did predictions for that because we ain't on no little kid stuff. We do the whole bracket, baby. All right, so we've got Cordiality. Oh, I pointed too far. We've got Cordiality and Right Turtle making it to the next round. I think Corrupted Minds are going to maybe win one game at most against Right Turtle. But after Takers V2 gives Right Turtle some really good competitive matches, I think Right Turtle is going to lock it in and go up against Corrupted Minds and just demolish them. EU versus EU there, by the way. Empire of the Sun versus Cordiality. I've got Cordiality coming out on top. They're the number 1 seed. I think they are one of the best teams in this bracket, and I think that they're the best team on their side of the bracket. Remember, this is actually split, so this from here up will be the left side of the bracket, and then from here down will be the right side of the bracket, right? And I think that Cordiality is the best team on their side of the bracket. Yes, I know Right Turtle's there, but I've got Cordiality beating them. We'll talk about that here in a second. All right, Justice Roco versus Gaming Gorillas. Also, spicy matchup, right? So we've got our top 4 teams, and again, how awesome is this? We've got 4 teams with these rosters and this caliber of competitiveness, and there's 4 of them. You guys said that wouldn't happen, but we got it. All right, let's take a look at who I think is going to be winning those matchups. Cordiality, Gaming Gorillas. I'm getting spicy. Yes, sir. Don't worry. Justice Roco is going to become the Grim Reaper of the losers bracket because of this, right? I've got them losing to Gaming Gorillas just because I think, like, Delena's Kryptonite is cool this weekend, so we'll see if I'm right about that. And if that does happen to be it, Justice Roco is going to have to be a Grim Reaper in the losers bracket, and I think that is exactly what they will become. We've got Right Turtle losing to Cordiality. I think this is the weekend, the month. I think this is the time for the top two teams to go down, okay? We've got more spiciness coming. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. All right, so we've got Cordiality beating Gaming Gorillas. That's right. I've got Cordiality making it all the way to the grand finals from the winners bracket, okay? They are not losing in the winners bracket, in my opinion. This could all happen, right? These are just predictions, guys. I'm just going based off of the rosters, the success of their teams from this month, the success of the players against each other in certain matchups, and plus what rogues they play, what strategies they use, and a couple little stats that I've kept track of privately. But that's still a mess. We're going to clean it up here for the month of October. All right, so we've got Cordiality beating out Gaming Gorillas. Let's talk about the losers bracket, though, because that's where things really get spicy, right? So this is, after we do our winners bracket, this is where all the teams fall into place in the losers bracket. All right, so we've got Innovators versus Beefy Buffalo. We've got Takers and Fantastic Bird. We've got Stiff Shark going up against Beefy Pandas, and we've got Saint Nelgib versus Go-Go Fluffy Rangers. All right, and then we've got, of course, these teams ready for those winners. All right, so let's talk about who we got advancing after that first round. We've got Innovators beating Beefy Buffalo, although, again, anything could happen there because Beefy Buffalo, again, we don't know who that is. Number 8 seed, though. All right, we've got Nice Mink going up against Takers V2, who will take out Fantastic Bird. Stiff Shark will beat out Beefy Pandas. So they'll go up against Corrupted Minds. Empire of the Sun will have to face against St. Nelgib. Go Fluffy Rangers. I've got you losing. Straight up, no wins for you guys in this bracket. I told you, bracket buster, baby. And it doesn't stop there for my boys at St. Nelgib, okay? Because Big Lens are going to make it to the next round. That's right. I got them beating Empire of the Sun. The team that I said could be on the rise again, and I like their name. I love their name. I got them losing. Woo! To Big Lens. That's right. St. Nelgib, bracket busting to the fullest, baby. I got them going to the next round. Stiff Shark is going to be losing to Corrupted Minds. So I've got Corrupted Minds winning 2 matches in this month's main bracket, right? One in the winner's bracket, one in the loser's bracket so far. Stay tuned. We've got Takers V2 losing to Nice Mink. I think Canny's going to be able to get his team pretty far into this bracket here on the bottom side of it, just not as far as you would think, right? Canny, you've made third place a bunch of times. I'm going to give you some good news. You ain't making third place this month. Guess what the bad news is? You ain't making top 3, okay? We've got Innovators losing to the Homie Squad V2. I think Homie Squad V2 is a good squad, and I think they're going to make it pretty deep into this bracket as well. Until, of course, they have to go up against Nice Mink. That's when I think Nice Mink is going to make it here. But you ain't getting past Right Turtle. So, again, Canny, good news. You ain't getting third this month. Bad news, you ain't getting top 3. Right Turtle's going to be beating you there as well. We've got, once again, Big Lens beating Corrupted Minds to advance against Justice Roco. Of course, I do not have them beating Justice Roco. I'm not clinically insane. I may be insane, but I'm not clinically insane, okay? If there's a difference between those, all right? Definition of insanity, I don't know what it is right now. All right, Right Turtle's going to be beating Nice Mink and, of course, Justice Roco. They're going to have a nice little easy matchup. I say easy for a team that just beat 2 teams that they should not be beating on paper, but I've got them beating him on my paper. All right, so we've got Justice Roco versus Right Turtle. That's going to be a banger of a match. But, of course, I said the Grim Reapers would be Justice Roco, and that's exactly what will happen. Justice Roco will beat out Right Turtle, and then they will beat out Gaming Gorillas on the rematch this weekend, and they will make it to the grand finals versus Cordiality for a rematch of their qualifier semifinal matchup between those 2 teams. And these graphics suck, I know. Bear with me. I didn't make a graphic for the grand finals bracket, but here's what's going to happen. Justice Roco is going to beat Cordiality, the first best of 5, reset the bracket because they're coming from the losers end, and then they're going to beat them again. So yes, I've got Justice Roco winning, which is like, hey, Blue, you said the same team's not going to win all the time. Read and wait, ladies and gentlemen. I've got Justice Roco winning the September $10,000 main event. I've got Cordiality getting second. Wait, why did I make first so small and second so large? Who cares? No time to fix it. Third place, we've got Gaming Gorillas. Fourth place will be Right Turtle. And Nice Mink and St. Nelgib, or Big Lens, they'll get 5th and 6th, respectively. Wait, is that actually right? No, I think Big Lens will get 5th. And Nice Mink will get 6 officially if this works out, because Right Turtle beat Nice Mink. And Right Turtle came in 4th. And the team that beat Big Lens came in 1st. So it doesn't really matter, I guess, because they both get the same amount of money. But anyways, whatever. Justice will be your champion, according to me. Cordiality will be 2nd. Gaming Gorillas will be 3rd. So, again, Canny, I love you, man. Good news, you ain't getting 3rd place this month, according to me. But bad news is if you do play for Nice Mink, you're going to be down there. If you end up playing for any of these other teams, I'll be highly surprised and also very impressed that you somehow got on one of these rosters. But hey, that's it. Do I have any more graphics? Nope. That's it. So everyone, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and then go into the comments. Tell me I'm a poo-poo face, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But that's it for your bracket breakdown and my predictions for the September Rogue Company $10,000 event brought to you by CheckmateGaming.com. Make sure you guys sign up for October as well. And, keep grinding, everyone. See you later. And we're probably never going to be doing this again because I look like a buffoon, and the camera did not want to show me very nicely. Oh, hello there. It's Blue. I'm a terrible dancer, so ignore that version of me on the screen and listen to my voice when I say thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and of course, click on another video of mine. I heard you'll like those over there. They're pretty good.